In the endless darkness of space, the threat wasn't a mysterious alien race or a malevolent artificial intelligence. A colossal asteroid, larger than Manhattan Island, was hurtling toward Earth at terrifying speed. A team of scientists from NASA's Advanced Space Division had developed a powerful energy-based weapon capable of shattering the asteroid before it could impact the planet. But no one had anticipated that the weapon would do more than just destroy the asteroid. On an ordinary evening, 5 seemingly ordinary young people from different corners of the United States realized their lives had been irrevocably changed. Los Angeles, 18-year-old Neva Cranston, who dreamed of becoming an astrophysicist, watched the destruction of the asteroid on her computer screen. Suddenly, she was surrounded by a strange, electric blue energy that caused her to collapse. She felt power coursing through her veins as she hit the ground. What's happening to me?" she groaned. New Orleans. Tyron Luxton, a talented street artist, was working on a mural when the energy burst struck him. His spray paint can froze in mid-air. With wide eyes, Tyron watched as the colors from his mural swirled around him, merging with the energy. "This is madness," he muttered, clutching his head. Montana. 19-year-old Isla Darrow, a fearless farm girl, was riding her horse when the energy burst reached her. The ground suddenly trembled, and her hands began to glow. She touched the earth, and vines erupted from the ground. "What in the world?" she exclaimed, her eyes wide with shock. Chicago. 20-year-old Ronan Jacks was walking back to his dorm, dreaming of becoming a fighter pilot, when his body suddenly became weightless. Instinctively, he jumped and found himself soaring several meters into the air. "Whoa," he said as he landed. "This is something new." Miami. 21-year-old rebellious hacker Briar Cross was typing code rapidly when the energy burst hit her apartment. The lights flickered, and her screens were suddenly flooded with data. She felt her fingers moving faster than her mind could keep up. "This is incredible," she whispered, her eyes glowing with data. These 5 strangers had been brought together by an inexplicable force. In the days following the asteroid's destruction, government agencies worked tirelessly to understand the effects of the energy burst. The young people soon found themselves being monitored by military agents and transported to a high-security military base in Nevada. A seasoned military leader, General Reeve, stood before them. "The destruction of the asteroid triggered something beyond our understanding," he said gravely. "And the 5 of you have either been blessed or cursed by that energy. We need your help." "Help with what?" Briar asked, folding her arms. "Something is coming," General Reeve said. "From the depths of space. And it's not friendly." Despite their reluctance, the 5 young people underwent rigorous training under military supervision. Days turned into weeks as they learned to harness their newfound powers. Neva developed telekinesis, allowing her to move objects with her mind. Tyron gained the ability to control light and colors, using them to create illusions. Isla's powers were connected to nature. She could manipulate plants and soil. Ronan mastered flying and superhuman agility, while Briar's hacking skills evolved into technomancy, enabling her to communicate with technology. "So why us?" Isla asked one evening after training, as they sat together in the common room of the facility. "Maybe we were just in the wrong place at the wrong time," Ronan replied. "Or maybe," Neva said thoughtfully, "we were chosen for a reason." Chapter 2. The Difficulty of the Quest. The 5 young people were now known as the Cosmic Defenders, and each day they began to better understand the limits of their powers. Their training and new abilities had transformed them both physically and mentally. But was everything they learned enough against the looming threat? A massive spaceship, emerging from the depths of space, was rapidly approaching Earth. Not only did they not know what was inside that ship, but they were also uncertain if they were ready to face it. Neva was deep in thought while reviewing the latest reports at the base. "What are they expecting from us?" she thought. To be the defenders of Earth. Why us? You're lost in thought again," Ronan said, approaching her with a hint of concern in his eyes. "Is everything okay?" Neva smiled slightly, but there was a weight beneath that smile. "Is everything okay? I'm not sure how prepared we are. Every day we understand the limits of our powers better, but will these abilities be enough?" Ronan sat down next to Neva. "Look, we're in this together. Our strength doesn't come from each of us alone. It works when we're together. It's not just about our abilities but also about our bond with each other." Neva took a deep breath. I know. But this alien threat feels like something much bigger. We don't even know what we're up against. Just then, Isla entered the room, a slight tension on her face. The details of the ship have become clearer. Technologically, they are far ahead of us. They have advanced weapon systems and shields. So, this might not be something we can win on our own, Briar said, listening to Isla while rapidly typing on her computer. But if we manage to infiltrate their ship, I can disrupt their internal systems. Tyron, who had been sitting quietly in the corner of the room, spoke up, his eyes glinting. I can create an illusion to blind some parts of the ship, which could give us an advantage to attack. General Reeve quietly entered the room, observing them without interrupting their conversation. The talents these young people possessed and the bond between them were promising for the Earth, but he was still worried. As the battle approached, it was becoming harder to determine the right strategy. Listen, General Reeve finally decided to speak. This is no ordinary mission. The threat we're facing comes from the darkest corners of space. It's unlike anything Earth has ever encountered before. You'll need to use not only your strength but also your intelligence and strategy. If you want to win this war, you must unite. None of us can survive alone. We're together, Ronan said firmly. We'll do whatever it takes to stop this ship. The general nodded slightly at the determination of the young people. Good. Because the time has come. We have a ship that will take you into the moon's orbit. You need to stop their ship before it reaches Earth. This will be your first major mission. The team looked at each other. A mixture of excitement, fear, and the unknown was visible on their faces. However, their determination was the most dominant. When the cosmic defenders returned to the military base, they were tired but alive. The first major challenge they faced in space had shaken them, but the victory they had won brought them even closer together. They had managed to stop the ship, but they realized this was just the beginning. Earth had to build a stronger defense line for the next attack, and that burden was now on their shoulders. Neva turned to her team with a serious expression. This isn't the end of the war. But whatever comes from the depths of the galaxy, we are here. And we'll stand together. Isla nodded. Yes, together. Our strength doesn't just come from our abilities, but when we're united. Briar smiled. And next time we face them, we'll catch them off guard. General Reeve took a step back quietly, watching the young people. These young ones might be the last line of defense for the world. But their courage and strength brought hope back to life. As the cosmic defenders returned from their first major mission in space, they barely had time to catch their breath before facing a new crisis. Sudden, unexplained explosions were occurring in cities around the world. Chaos, fear, and panic spread rapidly. It was clear that this was an alien attack, but this time, the assault wasn't overt, it came from the shadows. The enemy was striking not only from space but also from within Earth itself. When the alarm bells rang at the central base, Neva, Ronan, Isla, Tyron, and Briar shared a silent moment of determination. No matter how terrifying the mission, as long as they stood together, they knew they could win this war. However, this new threat would test not just their powers but also the bonds between them. What's happening here? Ronan asked, his voice filled with impatience and worry. We need to find the source of these explosions, Neva replied, her eyes fixed on the data streaming across the screen. The attacks don't seem random. There's a plan. General Reeve stared at the large screen in the center, quickly analyzing several maps. The explosions are occurring near major energy centers, he said in a grave tone. This is likely an attack aimed at destabilizing Earth's energy supply. If they succeed, our cities will be plunged into darkness. If our energy systems collapse, our defenses will fall. So they're trying to take us down from the inside, Tyron said, his fists clenched, brows furrowed with anger. I didn't expect such a treacherous plan. Isla thought about what General Reeve had said, and then her eyes lit up. If they're targeting energy centers, there's a way to stop them. Plants. We can use them to stabilize the energy flows. But to do that, we'll need to go to the explosion sites. How fast can we move? Briar asked. If the attacks escalate, they'll outpace us. Ronan looked at Neva. What do you think? How should we strategize for this mission? Neva took a deep breath. The responsibility of leadership was heavy, but she was their only hope. If the goal of the attacks is to destroy Earth's energy infrastructure, we have to split up to prevent it. Isla will try to stabilize the energy flow with plants, while Briar and Tyron will hack into their systems and launch a counterattack. Ronan and I will find and neutralize the enemy. But we need to be cautious. This time, the enemy might be invisible. So, each of us will have a task, Briar said, determination shining in his eyes. We can't afford any mistakes this time. General Reeve nodded, approving their strategy. You must move quickly. Coordination is vital. If these explosions continue, we could lose the entire energy grid of Earth. The teams swiftly split into their designated roles. Isla headed toward the nearest explosion site, while Ronan and Neva moved through the shadows to find the enemy. Briar and Tyron made their way to the terminal room at the base to fend off the enemy's sabotage of the energy systems. As Isla approached the energy center, she sensed a faint aura vibrating in the air. It was a side effect of her deep connection with plants. There was something abnormal in the plants and the soil. When she touched the ground with her hands and felt the energy, she detected traces of alien energy causing destabilization around the explosions. This energy was disrupting the natural flow of the plants and interfering with Earth's energy lines. "I'm here," she murmured to herself, concentrating. She pressed her hands deeper into the ground, closing her eyes to begin correcting the disruption. Using the power of nature, she started to balance the instability that the aliens were trying to create. But she wasn't just battling nature. She was fighting the disrupted energy flows that the enemy actively manipulated. Briar worked quickly at the terminal, his hands deftly maneuvering the screens, while Tyron used his illusions to divert the enemy's cyber attacks to misleading targets. "They're faster than we thought," Briar said, his fingers dancing across the screen. "But if I can decrypt the sabotaged code before they shut down the system, we can stop them." Tyron paused for a moment, gathering his focus to strengthen his illusion. "We just need to buy some more time. I can prevent further attacks, but I'm not sure how much longer I can hold out." Briar knew the importance of Tyron's tenuous defense. Without his abilities, the enemy could take over all systems. But Briar was already making headway with the compromised code. "We can do this," he said firmly. "Just hold on a little longer." Ronan and Neva tried to understand how the enemy moved through the shadows. The attacks were invisible, resulting only in sudden explosions or energy waves. However, Neva's cosmic powers allowed her to detect the aliens' traces. Darkness was not her enemy. She could find her way through it. "They're here," Neva whispered, glancing at Ronan. "They're using some sort of cloaking technology. But they can't hide from my senses." Ronan drew his sword and scanned the surrounding darkness. "What do you expect me to do? Fight an invisible enemy?" Neva smiled. "Yes, and I will reveal them." She raised her hands to the sky, gathering her cosmic energy, and a moment later there was a powerful flash of light around them. The light disrupted the aliens' cloaking technology. Now, the enemies were visible, large, strangely shaped creatures emerging from the shadows, ready to attack. "It's battle time," Ronan said, drawing his sword and charging towards the enemies. As each of them strove to complete their tasks, the cosmic defenders faced this threat while also strengthening the bond between them. Racing against time to stop the explosions and save Earth, their determination and strategy were key to winning this war. Even amidst the chaos, they overcame the challenges through their trust in each other. The cosmic defenders had managed to stop the explosions and rebalance the energy grid, but their relief was short-lived. When Isla, Briar, Tyron, Ronan, and Neva returned to the base, a greater mystery awaited them. The attacks hadn't ended. They had merely revealed the true plan of their unseen enemy. The aliens were still out there, somewhere around Earth, lurking like a shadowy threat. Upon their arrival at the command center, General Reeve summoned them to a large conference room. The screen displayed data from orbital sensors around Earth. Energy fluctuations indicated unusual activity. The energy field surrounding Earth had become momentarily unstable, and these disturbances were disappearing as quickly as they appeared. "What's going on?" Ronan asked, noticing the tense expression on General Reeve's face. "We stopped the explosions, but this data suggests something else." General Reeve took a deep breath. "Those attacks were just a distraction," he said. "The real threat is hiding in our orbit. Someone or something is setting up a massive energy network around Earth. This network isn't just meant to cut off our energy lines, it's being used to completely trap us. Isla's eyes widened. Trap us? What does that mean? Briar quickly approached the data screen, squinting as he analyzed the information. This network is some kind of barrier. It's like they're trying to isolate Earth from the outside world. Maybe they're setting up for an invasion. Tyron, gathering his thoughts, stepped forward. If this is a siege, Earth's defense systems could be shut down. Once the energy flow is cut off, not just the cities but our entire defense network could go offline. That would leave us completely vulnerable to external attacks. Ronan clenched his teeth. So the first attacks were just to slow us down. Now they're trying to cage Earth. I didn't expect our enemy to be this cowardly. Neva fell into deep thought. She sensed there was a larger plan behind this threat. The energy fluctuations in orbit were signaling something more than just a simple attack. But what happens when this siege is complete? She asked, turning her gaze to General Reeve. General Reeve's face darkened with grim determination. Everything that's happening could be part of an invasion. Or worse, Earth could be their experiment. Silence hung in the room for a moment. This thought weighed heavily on everyone's shoulders. The enemy might not just aim to destroy Earth, but could also be determined to experiment on its inhabitants. But what was the nature of these experiments? And why were they following such a secretive strategy? Neva's mind drifted to the dark energy she felt in the depths of space. Cosmic forces were giving her clues. There was something in orbit. An entity, perhaps a more powerful force guiding intelligence. This invasion is more than a test, Neva said firmly. They're studying us, analyzing our strengths and weaknesses. This barrier is giving them time to completely control us. Tyron stepped forward. In that case, they'll make their first move before we strike. And we need to be ready for it. Briar continued analyzing the data in the system, his eyes fixed on the screens. If we want to break this barrier, we need to disrupt the energy flow. But this barrier is so strong, normal weapons won't be able to penetrate it. Even our cosmic powers might struggle to break this energy. So we need an extraordinary move, Ronan said. We're fighting something bigger than we thought. Isla took a deep breath and intervened. I stabilized Earth's natural energy flow with plants. But this alien technology might be beyond our capabilities. We need to do more. Maybe we could counter their energy grids with our own energy, neutralizing them. General Reeves spoke without taking his eyes off the screen. They're trying to lock us down, that's clear. But we know they don't have the time to execute this plan successfully. If we act quickly, we can stop them. Neva gazed into the sky, lost in deep thought. It's time for us to go on the offensive. We must hunt down this enemy and neutralize them completely. But we need to act together. If we get separated, they might truly destroy us this time. The team looked at each other in silence. They all understood the magnitude of the danger. But they had to win this battle. Earth's fate was in their hands, and this time they were determined to completely unmask the enemy. Ronan, Neva, Isla, Tyron, and Briar. They would use their cosmic powers to break this barrier and protect their world. Even amidst chaos, as long as they stayed united, they could win. The Cosmic Defenders decided to come together to change the course of the war after learning of the enemy's plan to lay siege to Earth. The aliens had used all their tactics to slow them down, but now this was no longer just a defensive struggle. The team had to launch a strategic attack. The fate of Earth depended on the success of this maneuver. As Ronan returned to the base, he unclenched his fists. This time, we're going on the offensive, he said resolutely. They think they've got us cornered, but we're going to show them how strong we really are. When the team gathered with General Reeve, a giant holographic map stood in the middle of the room. It clearly showed Earth's orbit and the distinct energy currents of the siege barrier. Reeve stepped in front of the group, pointing to the map. This is the weakest point of the enemy forces, General Reeve said, pointing to a specific area on the map. If we can break this energy line, the rest of the barrier will collapse. But to do that, you'll need to use your powers to their full capacity. Briar ran her hands over the map, analyzing the data flow. This barrier is made up of many interconnected nodes. If we target specific key points, we have a chance to cause a chain reaction that will bring the whole thing down. But to do that, we'll need to launch simultaneous attacks. Neva approached Briar, listening carefully. So this isn't just an attack, it's a battle of timing. When each of us strikes the designated targets, we need to create an energy imbalance so the system fails, she said. Exactly, Briar said. But if we miss even one of the energy points, the barrier will rebuild itself. So flawless coordination is essential. Tyron crossed his arms, deep in thought. This requires more than just relying on our cosmic powers. We have to be tactically perfect as well. Everyone has to move in sync. If we make a mistake, we're all in danger. Ronan sensed the tension but remained steadfast. We've come this far, we'll get through this barrier too. We won't make mistakes, he said. Isla took a deep breath, trying to connect with nature through the energy she drew from plants. She was looking for a way to combine her cosmic powers with the planet's energy. These energies are like opposing poles. If we can clash Earth's natural energy with their technology, we might be able to make the barrier consume all its energy from within. General Reeve turned to Isla and nodded approvingly. Using the energy of nature against their artificial energies. It's risky, but if it succeeds, we could collapse the enemy's system. Briar focused on her devices to develop Isla's strategy. If this natural energy idea works, we can break their resistance by attacking the enemy's energy centers. But for that, each of us will need to launch an attack simultaneously. The plan was taking shape, but it was clear it wouldn't be easy. The cosmic defenders now had to rely not only on their powers but also on their intelligence and their coordination with one another. The team banded together once more. Each of them felt the weight of the task ahead, but there was no turning back. As the meeting ended, Ronan turned to his teammates and took a deep breath. We all know our positions. We have to hit the targets right on time. Otherwise, we'll fail. Tyron looked at Ronan and frowned. Failure is not an option for us, he said. We're going to win this war. We're going to defend Earth. Isla closed her eyes, gathering her energy. We are not just the protectors of this planet, but of each other. Together, we will win. Hearing Isla's words, Ronan felt even more confident in the team's strength. Each of them was connected, focused on the same goal. The team would use all their abilities to gain full control of their cosmic powers and outsmart the enemy. As the team prepared for the operation, a silence settled over them. All their focus was on this major attack. Briar made final checks and confirmed the team's positions. Neva began to sense the cosmic energy, its vibrations revealing where the enemy was. When the time came, the team scattered in all directions. Each of them moved toward their designated targets. As Isla connected with Earth's energy, Ronan and Tyron prepared to attack the enemy's energy sources. Neva used her cosmic powers to find the core energy node. All the team members were synchronized, launching their attacks at the same time. Isla's natural energy began to shake the enemy's barrier. Tyron and Ronan started destroying the enemy's energy sources with their cosmic powers. When Neva reached the central energy node, all the team's energies combined, and a massive explosion occurred. The explosion had shattered the enemy's energy barrier. The chains over Earth were broken. The cosmic defenders' attack was successful. But they knew the enemy's plans were not yet over. They had only completed one phase. The real battle was just beginning. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.